I thought that Rick Barnes, to be a 70-year-old man, was so ahead of the curve when he said over the weekend that Chaz Lanier gets paid to shoot. I know that he never thought in his entire career prior to 5 years ago when NIL came around that he would ever say that. I just thought it sounded super cool. I don't know if it motivates him or not, but I'll tell you what, if I'm hosting this show and somebody says you get paid to do this, do a better job, then I'm probably going to up my game a little bit. And you don't say something like that unless he's had bad practices or questionable effort. You don't just say it for missing shots. At least I don't think you do. What did you make of the comment?
Let me play the comment for you guys real quickly. This was, so for those who didn't watch, Rick Barnes benched Chaz Lanier at the beginning of the second half. And I'm going to play the comment, and this is exactly what he said because it's actually, the way he said it makes it even sound better. So here we go, pulling it up now. Here's what he says.
I took him out first play of the second half because he didn't shoot the ball. I mean, that play was designed for that shot. And I told him, I said, if you're not going to do what you're getting paid to do, you sit over here because he is getting paid to do that.
So for those who don't know, there was a play designed for Chaz Lanier to shoot the ball at the start of the second half, and Chaz Lanier got it, and he didn't shoot it. And so Rick Barnes pulled him. And he said, yeah, you're not going to do what you're getting paid to do. You're going to sit. This is what NIL needs to be about, by the way. We have said from the start, I said I'm all for players getting paid. I'm also for more accountability for players because they're getting paid. And
could you see a situation that there are incentives? Like if you average over 24 points, you get an extra $100,000. Like if you score 10 touchdowns, you get an extra $100,000, because I think that could happen. And I think that would be awful because all that would do is breed selfishness in the locker room. The first school that does that, they better keep it under wraps and not tell everybody else. Because if a running back is out there in the fourth quarter because he wants to be, because he wants to hit his bonus, that's not going to sit well with his teammates.
Yeah, and it's even worse in basketball because if you say you got to score this many points, well, the player has the chance to ball hog when they do that.
That's true.
I mean, yeah, so yeah, you don't want to do it that way. But I mean, this was one. Okay, I want to say just from a Tennessee perspective, Dave, real quick. Isn't it kind of a red flag when your primary scorer, and I'm kind of coming around to your side with Chaz Lanier versus Dalton Connect now, because your primary scorer should want the ball to score every time, shouldn't he?
Yes.
So
and I'm glad we got to that because that should be the biggest takeaway from that statement. You don't pass up shots.
That are designed for you. When the coach, yeah. Like, I'm not saying you be like Scottie Pippen and don't go into the game when a play is not designed for you. But I am saying that, like, if you're a scorer, you're the leading scorer on the team, you are brought in to score, and you're the best scorer in the SEC, and there's a play designed for you to score, guess what? You should score, or you should attempt to score. You shouldn't pass it up.
Well, do you think, let's put it this way, unless like 3 people started defending him, do you think Dalton Connect ever passed up an offensive opportunity, whether it was a shot or driving to the basket?
No,
do you think Chris Lofton ever passed up an open shot unless he was guarded? I mean, unless you're guarded really well, and he wasn't on that play, that is your job. And I would rather, you remember Trooper Taylor? He used to always say, a former Tennessee assistant coach, he said he'd always rather say whoa than go. I don't want to have to tell a guy to shoot. Like in football, I don't want to have to tell a guy to go hard. I'd rather him hit somebody late every once in a while in practice than be soft in practice. Passing up shots as a shooter and a scorer that is needed is soft. It's just soft.
It is. It's not a mentality you want. And now you see why Tennessee couldn't manufacture buckets against Florida, because it's like, yeah, you need Chaz Lanier to say, everybody clear out, I'm going to take over. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be selfish all the time, but it's like, it has to be specific moments. Like, I'm sure you remember, Dave, when the 97 finals, when Michael Jordan basically told Phil, Steve Kerr's going to be open every time because they're collapsing on me. But like, that was like, Michael would drive to the lane and Utah would send 4 guys into the lane to collapse. So he knew Steve Kerr was wide open.
Right, and you have to remember that was after establishing himself for a decade, well, about 10 years, 8 years maybe, when he won his first championship in the NBA. So it's not as if he was kind of a ball hog in the beginning, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. And so he kind of learned that, and he knew that in that situation, Steve Kerr would be open. It's basically, you know what it's like too? Have you ever seen a quarterback? I've seen quarterbacks do it, call running plays, but like, could you ever imagine a quarterback saying we should run, telling a coach we should run our way down the field for a game-winning drive?
I don't have as much of a problem with that, because like a Peyton Manning, if he knows they've got an advantage on the front end, I don't think he's going to just want to throw it because he wants to throw it. I just think he's going to want to win. Right.
But if the coach tells you we need to throw the ball and the quarterback says, no, I want to run it, let's take it out of my hands, that would be crazy, right?
Yeah, I see the point you're going at. I think that's a little bit more multi-layered than a play design where you're supposed to shoot. But I see where you're going.
Okay, yeah, that's where I'm leaning. Because you're right. They did, the Colts come back against the Patriots in 2007, the AFC title. They did run it for a touchdown. That was Tony Dungy, actually, and Peyton Manning together both agreed they should, and Marvin. But yeah, the point to this is there is a red flag when there's a play designed for a scorer and he doesn't want to take the shot. So that's what really stands out. And I'm glad Rick Barnes said that you get paid to do that. Because look, what he's basically saying is they pay Chaz Lanier to be a scorer. Rick Barnes, and by the way, this also says that Rick Barnes has an understanding of NIL that goes deeper than a lot of other places, which is that he says, and he's old school, but he's clearly pro NIL, but he's pro accountability with the NIL. And I think he's knowing how to use it as a motivational tool. That was a very good situation. And I know people, because we've seen it on the message board and I've heard it before. I know a lot of people aren't as crazy. Rick Barnes has always kind of been one to kind of call out his players publicly in press conferences, but that's just been Rick Barnes' style. And for the record, if you're a player who goes to play for Rick Barnes, he's going to do that. And
my understanding is it sits okay with the players because he oftentimes tells them that a couple of times before he goes public with it. So it's like the last emphasis. And Philip Fulmer did that a lot through the media. What you don't want to do is give one message to your players and give another message to the media. That will lose you respect from players in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, that's a very good point. And also Rick Barnes will back his players a lot of times too. If they struggle and they get ripped in the media, he'll defend them too if he thinks it's too hard. He just says what he thinks when it comes to his players. So yeah, I think that I think this is a great move by Rick Barnes, and it really shows the new era of college sports. I'm glad someone said it.
I thought it was cool. I'll tell you what, Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards. Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com, Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com. Use the promo code HOOKED for 10% off. HOOKED for 10% off. Now, in all fairness, yes, he is supposed to shoot that shot, Caleb, but I don't begrudge. I will defend him to some extent. They're trying to get Darlene Stone-Dubar back in rhythm. He just had a cold game earlier. So I understand the mentality, at least, of probably passing up a shot that you're supposed to take. Not defending him, but I kind of understand where the young man's mindset might have been.
Possibly, but I think the thing that's hitting me is, and you saw this down the stretch of this game, it's a little disturbing that Zakai Zigler is the one who took over, not Chaz Lanier, late. And so, like, now I think you and I would both agree Zakai Zigler may be the mentally toughest player in college basketball. But
it seems I don't know why you say that when he's got 5 or 6 plays when he dribbles right to the defense.
Yeah, but I didn't say mental toughness always means making the smartest play. Okay. Kobe's the mentally toughest basketball player of all time. He's still made a lot of dumb plays. So
now we're comparing Zakai Zigler to Kobe Bryant.
No, we're not. I'm saying that Kobe took a lot of dumb shots consistently all the time. And so Zakai is the mentally toughest in the sense of he's never scared of the moment. The moment never gets too big for him at all. And I noticed that they go to him to kind of take over games late if they need a bucket to keep things in control more than they go to Chaz Lanier. And that kind of stands out a little bit in a negative way. So this could be an overall issue with Chaz Lanier, man. And it's something you'd never know. You could see somebody play very well throughout a period of time in basketball, but you never know how they match up when things get tight a little bit. And this was our first foray into it last week. And yeah, it's a little bit concerning, the situation Chaz Lanier's in. And you have to ask, you have to start asking questions on that.
I agree. Let's play a little bit of hot or cold, and it is brought to you by our friends at City Heating and Air Conditioning. That's cityheatandair.com. So I'm going to throw some players at you on Tennessee's basketball team right now. So we're going to break down who's hot, who's cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Again, 50 years in East Tennessee, integrity matters. All right, Caleb, so let's go ahead and do that. The first grade I'm going to ask for, whether or not they are hot or cold, is going to be, are you hot or cold on Chaz Lanier?
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Okay, Caleb, the way I want to do this is I want you to tell me, compared to the beginning of the season, are you hot or cold on the following players? Chaz Lanier.
Oh, hot. Compared to the beginning of the season, I'm cold on Chaz Lanier compared to last week, but not to the beginning of the season. I didn't think he'd be this good.
I agree with you.
That's hot.
All right. Darlene Stone Dubar.
I am now officially hot. I was cold up until last week, but I am now hot. I think he's going to live up to what he was expected to do in SEC play.
I can't roll with you on that one yet.
Hater.
No.
How's a haterade taste?
It tastes fantastic. I can't go with you on that one quite yet. Okay, Tennessee is a basketball team as a whole compared to what you thought at the beginning of the season, now that you've seen a couple of months.
Cold. Because I thought this was Rick Barnes' best team that he ever had. And I thought it was going to keep the offensive droughts as a thing of the past.
Okay, well, this is an expectations thing. I actually think different.
That's hot.
I think they're better than what I thought at the preseason. So it's not that we both know how good they are now, but it's what we thought at the beginning.
Yeah. And put it this way. And the biggest reason I'm cold, I'll just say it, is Jemai Mashak. He is such a liability on offense that it's a problem. It's becoming a problem. He's basically, I'm a Grizzly fan. You're a Celtics fan, so you remember him, Dave. He's like Tony Allen on offense. And I mean, like, he is, nobody respects his offensive game, and it's causing problems for the rest of Tennessee that nobody respects him when he has the ball.
Pretty true.